What is up, loose cannons? What is up, Bucs Nation? I'm your boy Sammer, hanging out, Poppy Latte Stanker, and the return of Iceman, Donnie Abraham. I mean, how this guy's not in the Ring of Honor at Raymond James, still beyond me. Anyway, Donnie, welcome back to the show. Terrible
back.
times to be back, but we had to do an emergency podcast. You know what's going on. You're on top of things. You understand the pulse of the NFL, so it made sense to have you come in and join us because you've been in this position before. Massive news broke last night around midnight that this might be Mike Evans' last season as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And then this morning, his agent basically drew a line in the sand and said that there's no way we're going to have negotiations beyond week one. If we don't have a deal in place, we will start exploring what 2024 will be. Latte, you have something to say?
I have real quick, Sammer. I have to because, I make $170K a year now.
Yeah.
This recording and this podcast is taking place on a UPS designated break. I am on my given hour break, so I'm on break. I'm not stealing time, UPS. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
They deliver Flemings to you on your breaks now, right? After the contract negotiations that you went through?
They do.
So look,
they do.
Wow.
So we have Stanker. He's known, cheap, tightwad. Maybe you could equate. Maybe he's might be a Glazer, step brother, step sibling. Then we got Latte, who went through massive negotiations himself. He was on the front lines there, right?
The water fountains are full of this now at UPS. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on anymore.
You got me, Florida businessman. And then we got Donnie Abraham, former NFL player who's been in this situation. Donnie, what is your initial thoughts of not only what the agent says and how this news kind of breaks, through shady, murky waters of agents, talking to journalists at midnight and whatnot, and obviously your position as a former player?
Well, I mean, as a former player, now when you look at it out of the game, you can truly say it is a business. Now, when you're in the game and you're going through this situation, like Mike is going through right now, then there's feelings. There's feelings that get in the way. Now we drawing a line in the sand now, where we got his agent drawing a line in the sand. The Bucs are drawing a line in the sand, and now everybody's just kind of pounding their chest a little bit. But when you get away from the game, you start to understand, because I've been through this situation when I was in Tampa. I felt that I was going to be in Tampa my whole career, and that abruptly came to an end quickly. But as you get yourself removed from it, you understand it's truly a business. And that's kind of what they're going through right now. I mean, the Bucs are going through a situation right now where there's a lot of money on the table. And when you're talking about a player who's 10 years into it, you don't want to get buyer's remorse. You can pay a player $100 million, and next thing you know, after the contract is signed, you got buyer's remorse now, because now you're like, man, that's a lot of money. So they're just going through this back and forth right now. It's tough because everybody views Mike as a lifetime Buck, and we all know it's tough to stay with one team your whole career. There's a lot of past Bucks that weren't able to do that. When you think about names, you think about Warren Sapp, you think about John Lynch, myself included in that. It's just a business, and that's what Mike is going through right now. Hopefully he can get it done, because I always want for the players the most money they can get, for players and stuff. So hopefully he can get it done. Tampa is his home, but it's gonna be back and forth. There's gonna be some drawing line in the dirt going on right now.
I'll be honest.
Well, I think
I'm sick to my stomach. I'm just sick. I don't got to hide nothing here. Everyone knows where I stand. Everyone knows where Poppy stands as it relates to 13. But I had discussions, and we did the pod before the pod. I apologize. I don't apologize. I don't care. And Sam and I were talking about.
Hey, you make 170 grand an hour. You don't apologize when you make that much money, all right?
I don't apologize to absolutely nobody.
Thank you.
Poor Conor McGregor. Anyways, like Warren Sapp, not as much meat left on the bone. Right? Derek Brooks, as much as I love him, was a shell of himself in that last game at home against the Raiders. John Lynch, 2 neck surgeries. Allstott, his neck was done. Like these guys, it was different. Beloved, right? In the same way, but Mike has so much more left in the tank. He just not even arguably, by every report out there, was the best player at camp
Dog.
and had his best camp period and is 10 pounds down and almost fought Samir Ali for questioning it at training camp. He literally looked at Samir like he was like,
I was giving him a compliment. He wanted to go.
But see, Latte, you see how emotional you are right now?
Oh.
no, but I gave you fact too. I just didn't give you emotion. I didn't give you emotion. I didn't just give you emotion. I gave you fact as well. Those guys had nowhere near the amount of fuel left in the tank as Mike had.
Right.
And it's fact that everyone saying he had the best camp of his career, and he's down 10 pounds.
You have emotion.
I do. I'm crying. Look at this shit.
You gotta separate the two. Emotions and business.
Yeah.
It's tough to do. It is. I can tell you, having lived through the names you just described, seeing Warren Sapp play for the Raiders, which made me sick. You know, seeing John Lynch play for multiple teams, just hoard himself around the league afterwards. I hated it. But, you know, we just lived through the ultimate, guy playing for another team, right? With Tom Brady here, it was weird to see. Still didn't believe it. And, I mock Patriots fans unmercifully because, he's a Buccaneer for life now. And I feel like the chickens are coming home to roost a little bit, potentially. I don't want to believe it until it happens. But I know my Glazer brothers. I know how they think. They've been cold-hearted in the past. Cold-hearted, cold-blooded. When they did it with the coaching staff, they've done it with players. To them, there is no emotion. It's business. It's like Bob Sugar said, it ain't show friends, it's show business. And that's exactly the way they look at it.
Stank, it's business. You and I had a conversation way early on the offseason, right? When you went to the Goblin stuff. Yep. It's not an argument at this point either, right? It's business. Is Mike not the face of the entire franchise now? I mean, that's not Christian Wirfs. That's not Winfield.
But for how long?
You're right. I don't know how long.
And see that's the thing with Mike as well too.
It ain't Baker.
Mike has had a Hall of Fame career already. He's had 1,000 yards every year. So what's a failure for Mike? 900 yards? 800 yards? If he dips below that 1,000, are we gonna consider that a bad season for Mike? Now you just paid Mike $100 million. All right, and he dips below that 1,000. So are we gonna say that's a failed season?
Yep, Baker Mayfield's fault. It's Contrast's fault.
So the standard is set so high for Mike that it's going to become a point where he can't reach that. I'm not saying it's going to be this year, but when you invest that much money in an athlete, and I'm talking about the business side of it now, and he doesn't reach those goals he set for the last 9 years, then you start to have buyer's remorse. You start to question, we gave this guy all of this money and he didn't produce like he's a Hall of Famer. So, that's the option that could happen. Now, I'm not wishing that happened. I hope Mike have the rest of his career 1,000 yards. But when you separate emotion and you separate business, just like Stink just said, the Glazers are all about business. They are all about business, and right now, is going to be a business decision on the Mike Evans contract.
So Donnie,
it was business with Ron. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if we're going to look at it from the business side, let's look at it from. So Mike hasn't actually come out and said any of the things that have happened today. Somebody's put out a quote that Mike said, "I want to get paid. I don't want to be a holdout. I want to be a distraction." That stuff he made before camp. Those are comments he made before camp. He hasn't said anything about it basically since then. He's definitely not said anything today. But then that report comes out. I'm drawing the line in the sand. We won't talk about this. We're not going to answer the phone. And listen, for me, Donnie, if I'm the player and I have an agent, that agent's job is literally to answer the fucking phone. Answer the phone. If he gives me a date and then all of a sudden Jason Light and the Glazers call him the day after and they have $1 billion, I'm sorry, but he's going to pick up the phone. They are always a phone call away. So there's a little bit of a, come on. Who are we kidding here with that nonsense,
right?
Right?
Sammer, this is a power move.
It's a tactic.
Don't be naive. Of course it is.
It's a tactic. That's what I'm getting at. That this is just a business tactic. Anyone who has been through negotiations, you try to put pressure on it. You put an imaginary deadline together. it's not like this can't extend the entire season behind closed doors without Mike even being part of the conversation, honestly.
Right.
He's told his agent what to do. You know how that works. You've been in that position. So a lot of that stuff, again, is like, come on. So from your perspective, how much of that is like a grain of salt? How much of it is stuff that we should be worried about as Bucs fans? And
No, all that stuff is like you said. It's just for the media and everybody to talk about and discuss. Because you mean to tell me if you go a month into the season and the Bucs offer you $100 million contract, you gonna turn it down?
No.
You're not gonna turn it down. Or if they wait for the whole season and then after the season they offer you that money, you're not gonna turn it down. You know, so it's theatrics, it's all this stuff. So people can talk about it in social media, they can do all this stuff, and you know, and it can get latte emotional.
Listen, as someone who just went through a contract negotiation, right? We almost won a strike. I'm the contract expert on this podcast as of right now, and we won. We beat UPS. We got the contract we wanted. I personally think, you know, Rondé Barber. Mike needs to be Rondé Barber. We just talked about Rondé in the opener, right? Donnie's a Hall of Famer by proxy. Mike is a Hall of Famer. He needs to end his career like Rondé Barber here. There didn't seem to be a problem there with him ending his career here with the Glazers and it'll only be in business. And I don't think Mike's asking for $100 million.
No.
Well, I think you're talking about different levels of money as well too with Rondé and Mike. You know, you're talking about a defensive back versus a wide receiver. It's different pay grade. You know, you can afford to keep Rondé around, you know, but you might not be able to keep Mike around just because of the money. The number's going to be too high, you know.
Yeah. Also, it's you're gonna ask for Cooper Kupp money. Everybody knows he's not getting paid that. Even Mike would probably admit, you know, he's an aging asset. 3 more years, he's not going to be as productive as Cooper is, but he still wants to get paid. And then from the team's perspective, and I believe it, they don't want to tie up another $20 million a year at the receiver position. You know, look how young we are behind Mike and Godwin now. We got guys who've never taken a snap in the NFL. That's who we're relying on. So if you're going to make a power move as an agent, now's the time. I think what's most shocking to me and to most fans is like for them to make it public. That was like, oh shit.
But that's what they do.
That Mike had it in him. I know.
I don't.
I just didn't
that's not Mike.
But it's
Mike.
never been Mike's. It's never been Mike's MO though. But Mike can make the call. Donnie, you can call your agent and be like, I don't want this to be public, and then they won't make it public.
I'm not saying he did it without Mike's blessing. He said, hey, Mike, we need to do this and that to put a little pressure on them. You cool with this? He probably said, yeah, but don't write that in there. Do this instead. And then he's, you know, obviously not doing anything.
Sammer, you guys said it earlier, right? It's a power move. It's a chess move. We're on this fucking podcast right now because of it. Yes. Like, look at what Jason Light and the Glazers woke up to this morning. Absolute shit sandwich. And it's, like you said, good freaking agenting. That's not even a word by his agent. Because
it is.
Now it's the ball's in their court, right? It's like, hey, checkmate. Glazers.
Hey, the agent even went so far to say that it's not Jason Light and it's not Mike Greenberg.
Yeah.
He put it squarely.
So that's genius. That is a massive stinky PR sandwich just left out overnight. They woke up, they go into the kitchen, it stinks. Oh, this just cheese is bad. The meat is bad on this sandwich. The mayo has obviously gone bad. Like, it stinks in their kitchen. And how do you piss off the Glazers more than anything? Make it look like they're being cheap. Jump on the hashtag that is all over Twitter for some reason because those idiots across the pond with that make-believe football.
Forever.
All right? So all of that. It's a great move.
Hey, Sammer, we literally spent an entire day making fun of those fuckers, bro.
I know, bro.
I'm with them now. Glazers, fuck this shit.
But it's a great way to get your guy what he wants, because they're going to want to get rid of that ugly sandwich as soon as possible. Throw it in the trash. Let's clean the table. Make sure the countertop is nice and like all of that. And so the best way to do that is to push him where it's going to hurt. And my thing with this is the Bucs can't take the risk of going the entire season without getting a deal done, because if Mike blows up, then they're screwed. They're going to end up having to pay more.
No.
Or they get it done sooner.
Not just that.
And they wait it out maybe a month to see how he's really playing. There's games here. This is just piece number one.
Not just that, Sammer. Stank made a great point. He doesn't make money of them.
No.
Look how young we are behind Mike and Godwin. Like, dude, you're going to heavily – listen, we've known, you talk to people in the building, how they feel, right? It's us against the world. We're going to freaking win the division. They believe that they're still talentless team, that they can compete. They're not going to lay down and go for the number one pick. Mike is part of that competitive advantage of the team and part of the team being good. By the way, Snake, what the analogy you were looking for was the Glazers woke up to Sex Panther in their kitchen. It works 60% of the time, every time, but it smells like Bigfoot's dick. That's what they woke up to, was that stench in their kitchen. Like, what is going on here? Who sprayed this?
Yeah.
There it is.
You bought that from that. You bought that from that.
60% of the time.
You bought that from that little kiosk in the mall with the Israeli yelling at you that you would look so much better with some creams and lotions. Come here, God, I make you smell very good. Yes, you. No, this is you can't find this in America. Excellent quality.
Habibi.
No, they don't say. They only say Habibi to me because they know I'm Arab and that I'm not gonna go walk over there, right? So they try to butter me up.
Good right now.
Throw a little hummus at me. Go ahead, Donnie.
So the thing about that, when you say this genius that they did this, try to throw it all on the Glazers. Hopefully that don't backfire on them.
Correct.
Because we all know about these owners now. You can look at Jerry Jones. You know, the Glazers to me are a quiet version of the Joneses. I mean, they're all about business, and if you try to shame them, they'll do something in spite of. So hopefully this didn't backfire on them. And about the Bucs being young behind Godwin and Mike, that's not necessarily a bargaining to me, personal opinion, for Mike, because the reason that the Bucs feel they can go younger behind them, to me, is because they feel like they have a friendly offense who's going to take advantage of running the ball and a lot more play action, where they won't need like veterans and stuff outside, because just running that style of offense is going to make defenses stack the box. And now you got these young wide receivers one-on-one outside where you can just do easy pitch and catches. You know, so they may feel that they have an offense that is friendly enough to have guys that probably don't have a lot of experience behind Mike and Chris Godwin. So so hopefully this doesn't backfire, that this agent has released this information to try to put pressure per se on the Bucs, because we all know, these owners in the NFL trying to put pressure or do something, they're not going to do what they don't want to do.
Yeah, but
Donnie,
both sides are
go,
doing a risk or reward type of scenario. Go ahead, Latte.
Don't go any further than Jonathan Taylor. Look at that battle that's going on right now, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to put you in the pup, or we're going to do this, and we're going to own you for another year because we have your rights, and you want to make this difficult on us, we're going to make it extremely difficult on you. So, it could get ugly. I hope it doesn't come down to that.
Well,
Mike's been here a long time.
I think the Glazers have no shame. All right? They have an entire country that hates them. A whole country, an entire country of people.
They don't bat an eye. They wake up every morning.
They don't care.
No problem,
bro.
Hey, the paparazzi follows them around, bro. Like, how do you feel about the fans and Glazers now? They don't care at all.
They walk right to their car, don't hesitate, get in their ridiculously expensive vehicle, drive off.
Stupid.
Yeah, leave it. I mean, the exhaust fumes coming out of that guy's car in the face of the media, it costs more than those people's houses probably, right? It's good smog. It's gold-laced smog.
Gold smog.
But what I was going to say is, if we want to compare this to another situation that's kind of similar but not on a much larger level, let's talk about Lamar Jackson. That whole year that went on between him and the Ravens pretending they weren't leaking information, with Harbaugh standing up there going, I don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, the guys behind the scenes are, and then his mom and him leaking other shit or responding to other shit. Like, the games that go on from the front office and ownership and the players and agents, it's literally like watching an episode of Succession. It's not that different than any other massive billion-dollar business entity. So this is just like One Piece. A lot of it comes with a grain of salt. That's my way of looking at it. Latte and Stank, you guys kind of maybe overreact a little bit. You guys get emotional. I used to be that way, but I look at it like, listen, there's context. I'm getting one side of the situation right now. A grain of salt. That kind of shit.
Well,
like, that's just how it works.
You're a robot, bro. People know you don't actually have a heart inside your chest. There's no blood.
And it works to my advantage. It works to my advantage.
Thank you, Stank. Thank you.
Well,
I said it earlier on Twitter. I feel like my parents are getting divorced again. That's how I feel.
Listen, Donnie. I didn't lace him up like you did, okay, bro? Okay, it's called fanatic. It's called fan. And I'm on a podcast that's called Loose Cannon. I'm a loose cannon, and I'm gonna be fucking pissed if they don't re-sign my Evans.
Hey,
okay?
I'm gonna be pissed too, but I'm not gonna overreact before I have all the pieces on the chessboard. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna freak out.
What happens when they don't sign Mike? What are you gonna do then, bro?
I'm gonna freak out.
Bro?
Yeah.
You're gonna freak out.
You know that giant flag above $1? You know that giant flag above $1? I'm gonna have a torch bigger than that. All right, I'm gonna have a torch big enough to burn that fucking flag. All right, I'm probably gonna get arrested now. Who knows?
There's your emotions.
If you got a torch that, you got a torch that big, we're going for that Confederate flag that's on 75 right after.
Oh, that's next. That's next.
Right
because I will blame that Confederate flag for them not signing Mike. It's no coincidence. Look at the details.
That's part of the reason.
Yeah, the Glazers open up their castle bridge every morning, and they see that giant flag in the distance beyond their flag, and they're like, you know what? We need to do something extra white today.
Listen, I'm saying it right now, right here. If the Bucs don't re-sign Mike Evans and he doesn't finish his career as a Buccaneer, we're starting a GoFundMe, and I'm going to tattoo Glazers out across my ass. I'm going to do it.
Why don't you just put it in people's hair? Why don't you just buzz it into people's hairs?
I'm tattooing my ass. Glazers out.
Wow.
Permanent.
Well,
if they don't bring back Mike.
Wouldn't it make more sense if you put Glazers in on your ass? Or are you going with the whole?
No,
I was going to say.
I mean, you could put Glazers were here because I feel like I got fucked, but never mind.
Yeah.
But not Glazers in.
Out only.
Now Donnie's got to pray for it.
Hashtag Glazers out only. And then have an arrow pointing.
And technically speaking, out still works because it works double meaning. Out as an out,
both ways.
And then out as an out into the toilet. It works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right. For the words. How did we get in this?
This is come on, bro. You've been here long enough.
Come on, Donnie.
All right, Donnie.
Hey,
Donnie, how do you think this ultimately ends?
Ultimately.
Well, I hope it ends with, with Mike being
What do you
signed.
think happens?
How do you think it ends?
How do you think? You're not speaking for the team. What is Donnie's gut?
Because I heard a little bird told me you know a little something. So how do you, without sharing anything at all, how do you think it's going to end? I heard a little bird.
I think it's going to end with Mike being a Buck forever.
That's what I want to hear.
But I would say, it's not going to happen until the Bucs or the Glazers are comfortable with the contract.
Okay.
They got to be comfortable with the money.
Do you think if we, the play on the field this year is going to have impact? Like if we are a total shit show train wreck, could that somehow impact the decision?
I don't necessarily think that'll have an impact. I just because Mike has set the standard for him. Like he set the standard every year where he can show up and get 1,000 yards. Whether the team is good or bad, Mike is saying, I'm gonna get 1,000 yards anyway. So he's already set that standard. He set the Hall of Fame standard. So I don't think that would impact the contract situation.
Honestly, I think that would impact it negatively for us because Mike may be like, man, I'm in year 10. I got my 1,000 again. I may want to play somewhere else and chase another ring or something. If it's that much of a shit show the way Stank is describing, he may not want to sign it. Be like, never mind, go somewhere else.
My opinion on it too, I said kind of a little bit on Twitter, was that I don't know if I have a feeling it's not the number that he wants. It's not the number that's the holdup. I think it's how long that cap's gonna extend and hit, and how the Bucs want him to spread it out. And he probably just says, I want to be able to not leave meat on the bone and retire in a couple of years. Who knows? Like there's a bunch of stuff that plays into motivation. But what if the Bucs are doing this on purpose to motivate him to have a ridiculously good year so that they make a Super Bowl run?
That's not smart.
No, I don't know.
No, I don't think they would have to do that.
That's not smart.
I know it's obviously tongue in cheek, Latte. Relax. Come on.
That guy doesn't need he doesn't need motivation, bro. That guy
it's not just that. It's just Sammer just said it earlier. What if he has 1,500 yards, 1,400 yards, and 10 touchdowns? Now all of a sudden that 20 million figure is going to be more like, hey man, I need 26.
No, they're both going to bet on themselves. They're both betting on themselves.
I think it has way more to do with. If people are not going to want to hear this, I think it has way more to do with Devin White's contract and Antoine Winfield's contract and Wirf's contract and all these guys who are going to be here potentially
we have money
for another decade. We do, but not as much as you think, right? We still need another year even after this to recover from Brady and those years. So it's not we're not there yet.
And so, Stink,
Yeah.
I add something to your list there. Age.
He'll be
I
a
think
year
it has
older
something
next
to
year
do-
too.
I think it has something to do with age too. This is year 10 for Mike.
Yeah,
This
he
is
just
year
turned
10.
30.
And if you're looking at all the analytics and all that type of stuff, there's not a
Yep.
lot of guys that play for 10 plus years.
Larry Fitzgerald,
You know,
Cardinal for life.
Yeah, those guys
Yeah,
are
but Larry, that
far.
was a Super Bowl roster. That was a Super Bowl roster he was
Yeah.
holding on to at the end.
Yeah, plus he's a
Super Bowl
unicorn.
roster.
His
Brooks.
final years, they were that was when they were making the Super Bowl push. When they went to the
No.
Super Bowl, right?
No. He
They
had
went to
big
Super
years
Bowl.
where he didn't. They weren't even competing, dude.
I don't know. Maybe my memory's terrible.
My thing is this: he won a Super Bowl. If he breaks the record and goes beyond the 11, like the Jerry Rice thing with consecutive seasons, he's obviously the only player who's ever started his career and never not had 1,000 yards. Like, there's a lot of stuff there where he's checked off a lot of boxes at some point. Mike, what more motivation is Mike going to have after a year or another two to even play in the NFL? So he could be looking for one more shot at a Super Bowl. Might be looking for one massive bag at the end to get out. The Bucs owe it to him. He's negotiated his contract over and over again and restructured so many times. And we're obviously a player-friendly pod. Donnie, you know that. We make you curse on here all the time.
Well, Sammer,
it's
if
about
he's looking to go to another,
get him paid.
if he's looking to go to another Super Bowl, he's in the right place because we
I
got
get it.
Baker. This is a Super Bowl team, right, Sammer?
We have two Super Bowl winning quarterback or two Super Bowl capable quarterbacks on one roster. What are we talking about?
I agree.
Mike, where
I agree.
else you want to go, dude? I mean, come on.
Where else do you want to
Where do you
go?
want to go?
I'm about to say that's another show.
You know who has money and could sign him in D Hop.
Ew,
D-Hop
don't do
was
that.
rumored to go there. I would
Don't do
be
that.
disgusted. It would be gross, but they could afford him, and it would be stupid. Should I even say it? Thing?
Detroit.
Nope. Stop, bro. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
There's a lot of Detroit podcasts with him wearing blue.
Well, no, the problem
thumbnails.
is I saw that because I saw the thing from Akeem. No, the Chiefs. That would be pretty disgusting.
Hell no. What's wrong with you? Why would you put that out there?
I'm just saying.
Are
bro.
you the devil? The devil in
I'm
sheep's
not the
in
devil.
UPS clothing. I cannot believe it.
No, hey, nobody on this panel right now wants Mike to stay here more than anybody else.
Hey, listen,
Come on.
he'd get 2,000 yards in that offense, though.
Ew, I could just
Absolutely, bro.
I could hear Donovan Smith be like, "Come on, dog.
No,
Come on,
wait.
dog.
Join me here in KC."
But
bro.
listen, that's the reason he wouldn't go. He said, "Fuck that! I'm not going back there. I'm not getting more touchdowns taken off of my shit. Hell no!
Yeah.
Hey, Holden 76.
I know.
Mike would have the record right now if it wasn't for Donnie.
Facts.
Not you, Donnie. The other Donnie.
Not you, Donnie. Donnie.
I was about to say, yeah.
No.
I was about to say, I ain't doing
Yeah,
that.
Not
this
that
Donnie.
Donnie.
This Donnie got away with holding a lot because he's a savvy vet.
That's right.
Savvy vet,
Yeah.
bro.
Also, I don't think they had that holding penalty back then when you were playing the defensive holding on for 5 yards. They didn't have that. They had pass interference
Yeah.
or just let him play physical.
Now,
No, they had holding.
Donnie,
They had holding.
Donnie, I have
They
a
call
question. We talked about the youth and stuff, and I don't think so. I think it'd be naive. Hold on, guys.
Uh-oh. You're back on the clock. You gotta get
Oh
back on the
no!
Okay.
UPS is looking for him.
Uh-oh.
I'm here. So I think it'd be naive of them and premature. But do you think Trey Palmer's training camp and preseason so far has any effect on them?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I
Okay.
think you
As it
you know,
should.
yeah, I don't think it does. I mean, the young guys played well, and that's I mean, Jason Litt, man, he for him to have the courage to keep those young guys, and I don't even know if I pronounce his last name right, but Jason, I say Jason, but to have the courage to keep those young guys, behind the vets, I mean, that takes some guts, man. And I just think they feel like the OC is going to do a great job with play calling, and I think they think they can get away with having young guys back there. So I don't think that have anything to do with it.
Listen, we're having this
Fair
conversation. We're not even talking about the fact that Chris Godwin's contract is structured in a way that he can have another payday before he hits 30 years old, and it may not be here either. So there's a lot of shit kind of in the works, all at play. I'm curious if the Bucs even release a statement today. If I don't see Jason Light getting behind a podium anytime soon, because then he's just going to answer nothing but this kind of question. He looked uncomfortable yesterday when they asked him about opening up space on the cap for the practice squad guys they signed because the Bucs are still in a weird little cap situation. And he looked uncomfortable talking about Mike then. Latte said he looked uncomfortable. What was it?
During the broadcast?
Yeah, during the last preseason game with Rondé.
Jason Light went up and spoke with Rondé and Chris Myers, and Chris Myers tried to crack a joke about. I don't know if you saw his name, but he tried to crack a joke about Mike's contract, and Rondé immediately, bro. It was almost like because you know Rondé's within the building. I mean, everyone knows that, right? Rondé immediately said, like you can go back and watch it. Like, Chris, we're not going there. It was like unscripted, like, nope, Chris, we're not doing that. And then he made another joke towards the end of the interview, and Rondé just stared at him like, bro, he's not answering that question, bro.
Stop it.
Stop.
What I don't want, man, is this to get ugly. Like because you just said that you just talked about the Lamar Jackson situation where it got really ugly. And they were slinging mud, and the team was trying to disparage the player, and back and forth. And I don't think Mike's got that in him. But shit, when it comes to
but I think the
type
Ravens
of money they're talking about.
But the bad guy in that situation was the Ravens. They were the ones slinging the mud. They were the ones putting out false information and trying to paint Lamar in a certain light so that they can look good, whether they keep him or don't keep him. They paint themselves in a good
I gotta
picture.
go.
All right, so we'll see how it all plays out. Donnie, thanks for joining us, man. This is awesome.
Yeah,
we'll have you throughout the season
welcome back,
again.
Donnie.
And welcome
Welcome
back.
back.
Yes.
What a shit show this was, but
it's so awesome. I said it pregame that it felt so good to say, Donnie baby again. Donnie baby, welcome back.
I like it.
All right, Donnie. Fuck the Saints. Go Bucs. We'll be back probably on Monday. See you guys soon.
Peace.
Go Bucs.